48 nations, 12 groups, one trophy that changes absolutely everything. The draw's been made, the groups are set, and right now, in this moment, the path to glory at the 2026 World Cup just became crystal clear for some teams and brutally, painfully complicated for others. This isn't just about predicting winners. This is about understanding the battles that'll define this summer, the revenge matches, the generational clashes, the moments where legends either cement their legacy or watch it crumble in front of millions. From Mexico, opening night at the Azteca, to Mbappé facing Haaland in what might be the real final before the final. We're breaking down all 12 groups to tell you which teams will survive, which will shock the world, and which will be heading home early, with nothing but regret. This is your complete guide to the 2026 World Cup group stage. Let's dive in. Let's start where the tournament begins, with the three host nations who didn't need to qualify but now have to prove they belong. Mexico gets the honor of kicking off the entire World Cup on June 11th at the Estadio Azteca, and honestly, they couldn't have asked for a better draw. Group A gives them South Korea, South Africa, and a European playoff winner. On paper, this is Mexico's group to lose, but here's where the tension builds. Mexico's form heading into this tournament has been shaky at best. They haven't beaten anyone of note since the Gold Cup final. They're ranked 15th in the world, but that ranking feels generous right now, and the confidence? It's waning. Still, there's something about that opening night. The Azteca. 90,000 fans screaming as one. The weight of history pressing down on every touch. Mexico has played in that stadium more times than most teams have even appeared at World Cups. They know how to handle that pressure. They've lived it. South Korea will be their biggest challenge, no question. These two drew in a friendly just months ago. And remember, South Korea advanced from their group at the last World Cup while Mexico crashed out in heartbreak. This isn't David versus Goliath. This is two legitimate contenders fighting for top spot. And it's gonna be intense. Mexico tops the group. South Korea goes through in second. But don't sleep on Denmark if they win that playoff. They always show up at World Cups. Now let's talk about Canada. Group B, Switzerland, Qatar, and potentially Italy if they navigate their playoff path. Canada enters this tournament with history working against them in the cruelest way possible. 6 World Cup matches in their entire existence. 6 losses, not a single point, not a goal that mattered, nothing. But this time feels different. You can sense it. Jesse Marsch has brought energy. They're at home and they avoided the nightmare draw that could have buried them before they started. Switzerland are favorites to win this group, ranked 17th, clinical, efficient, the kind of team that just grinds out results. But Canada playing at BMO Field in Toronto for their opener, that's powerful, that's electric. The fans will be deafening, the emotion will be overwhelming, and if Italy makes it through, you'll have half of Toronto split between red and white because the Italian diaspora runs deep in that city. Canada gets their first ever World Cup point, maybe even their first win. They finish second behind Switzerland and finally give their fans something to celebrate after decades of waiting. And then there's the United States, Group D, and this is where things get interesting. Mauricio Pochettino looked at that draw and must have smiled because he knows what he's got. Australia, Paraguay, and a European playoff winner that's likely Turkey. The US beat Paraguay just weeks ago. They've beaten Australia recently too, and this is exactly the kind of group that removes all excuses. Pochettino said it himself, and listen to these words. If you don't win, what does it matter? If you are second, nobody ever remembers. That's the mentality he's bringing. No moral victories, no we played well, but just results and nothing else. Tyler Adams echoed that confidence perfectly. There's no easy game in a World Cup. No matter who we drew, we were gonna have that belief that we could make a run. The US opens at Sophie Stadium in Los Angeles against Paraguay, then Seattle, then back to LA for the final group match. 2 of those games are essentially home matches for the Americans, and the atmosphere will be insane. Christian Pulisic will be carrying that weight. The captain, the talisman, the face of this entire generation, and every eye will be on him. USA wins the group, Australia goes through second, and the American dream of a deep home run stays very much alive. Every World Cup has them. Groups so stacked, so brutally competitive, that one elite team is guaranteed to go home early with nothing. This time, we've got 3 legitimate candidates, and they're all going to produce drama. Let's start with Group C, Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, and Haiti. Brazil in a group of death sounds impossible until you remember what happened in March 2023, and if you don't remember, let me remind you, Morocco beat them. Not in a World Cup, not in a final, but in a friendly where Morocco proved they weren't afraid of the Seleção, weren't intimidated by the yellow shirts, and could go toe-to-toe with one of football's greatest nations. Carlo Ancelotti is now managing Brazil, and he's inherited a team that struggled through through qualifying, a team with cracks showing. They've got the talent. Vinicius Jr. is one of the most dangerous players on the planet, but they've got vulnerability too. And that's what makes this group so fascinating. Morocco reached the semi-finals last time. They're not here to make up the numbers or just enjoy the experience. They are here because they believe they can beat anyone, and they've already proven it. And Scotland, they're back at a World Cup for the first time in 27 years. 27 years of pain, of almost, of watching from home while others live their dreams. They haven't forgotten what it feels like, and the drama of their qualification. Kenny McLean's late winner against Denmark. That hunger is real. It's raw. It's dangerous. Brazil tops this group because they have to, because they're Brazil. Morocco goes through second because they've earned that respect, earned the right to be taken seriously. But Scotland could sneak through as a third place qualifier, and if they do, they'll feel like they've already won something special. Now let's talk about Group L. England, Croatia, Panama, and Ghana. This one hurts for England before a ball's even been kicked, because they know exactly what Croatia can do to them. June 17th at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, England versus Croatia. The rematch nobody in England wanted. The nightmare they hoped to avoid. The World Cup semi-final. England were winning, they could taste the final, they could see Wembley hosting them as heroes. And then Croatia turned the match around, dragged it to extra time, and broke English hearts in the most painful way possible. Thomas Tuchel is managing England now, and this is his first tournament in charge. He's German, he's won everything at club level, Champions Leagues and domestic titles. But this is different. This is the weight of 1966, the only major trophy England have ever won, hanging over every single decision he makes. Pep Guardiola came out and said he wants England to win under Tuchel. That's how much belief there is in this squad. That's how much talent they possess. But Croatia don't care about England's dreams or their expectations. They care about their own legacy, their own pride. Their golden generation is aging. The clock is ticking, but they're not done yet. Not even close. England wins that group because they have to. Croatia goes through second because they always do, because they always find a way. And Ghana, lurking in fourth place, they've made 4 of the last 5 World Cups. They've got pedigree. Never count them out as a third place qualifier. But the real group of death, the one that's going to produce the most drama, the most pain, the most absolute brilliance on a football pitch, Group Y. France, Senegal, Norway, and an intercontinental playoff winner. This is where football gets cruel, where the draw becomes destiny. France are defending finalists with back-to-back final appearances. They know what it takes. Senegal are the best team in Africa alongside Morocco, battle-tested and fearless. On Norway, despite being in pot 3, despite being underestimated, have the 9th shortest odds to win the entire tournament. Why? One name. Erling Haaland, June 26th, Norway versus France. Mbappé versus Haaland. The 2 greatest goal scorers of this generation on the same pitch, in the same match, in a battle that could decide everything. Haaland scored 16 goals in European qualifying. 16. He dragged Norway to this tournament by sheer force of will, by refusing to let them fail. He's 26 years old, in his absolute prime, at the peak of his powers. Norway haven't been to a World Cup since 1998, and now they've got a player who could single-handedly take them to the knockout stages and beyond. Mbappé is at Real Madrid, living his childhood dream. He won the Golden Boot at the last World Cup. He's the face of French football, and he knows this is France's tournament to lose. But here's the twist that makes this group even more special. France and Senegal already have history, and it's the kind of history that still stings. In 2002, the opening match of the World Cup, Senegal shocked the entire planet by beating defending champions France. Papa Bouba Diop scored the winner, and it remains one of the greatest upsets in World Cup history. The kind of moment that gets replayed forever. This time, they meet on June 16th at MetLife Stadium. Sadio Mane leading Senegal's attack with everything he's got. Kylian Mbappé carrying France's hopes on his shoulders. Both players with African roots. Mane, born in Senegal, Mbappé, of Algerian and Cameroonian descent. The narratives are layered, they're deep, they're beautiful. France wins this group because they're France, because they're that good. Norway finishes second because Haaland won't let them fail, won't accept anything less. Senegal goes home as the most dangerous third place team in the tournament, and they might still go deep if they qualify, because they're that talented. This is the group that will produce the match of the group stage. Mark it down right now. This World Cup isn't just about the next generation rising up and announcing themselves. It's about 2 of the greatest players to ever touch a football, saying goodbye to the biggest stage of all. Group J: Argentina, Austria, Algeria, Jordan, and the question everyone's asking, the question that dominates every conversation. Will Lionel Messi even be there? He's 39 years old. He said he'll make a decision based on his form with Inter Miami, based on how his body feels. Listen to what he said and really hear the honesty in these words. I'm going to assess that on a day-to-day basis and see if I can really be 100%, if I can be useful to the group. Obviously, I'm really eager because it's a World Cup. We're coming off winning the last World Cup, and being able to defend it on the field again is spectacular. That's not a yes, that's not a no. That's Messi being brutally honest about his body, about his limits, about what time does to even the greatest players who ever lived. But here's what we know for certain. Argentina are trying to do something that hasn't been done in 64 years. Win back-to-back World Cups. Brazil did it in 1958 and 1962, and no one since. No one. Messi or no Messi. Argentina are favorites in this group. Austria under Ralf Rangnick's relentless high pressing system will give them problems, will make them uncomfortable, but not enough. Argentina tops the group, Austria goes through second, and Jordan gets to say they played at a World Cup for the first time in their history, and that matters. That's everything to them. Now Group K, Portugal, Colombia, Uzbekistan, and an intercontinental playoff winner. Cristiano Ronaldo will be 41 years old when this tournament kicks off. 41. And he's already confirmed what we all suspected. This is his last World Cup, his final dance on the biggest stage. Think about that for a moment. The rivalry that defined an era, the rivalry that pushed football to new heights. Messi versus Ronaldo might both be saying goodbye at the same tournament. Two players who pushed each other to impossible heights, who made each other better, who raised the bar so high that everyone else had to chase them. 5 Ballon d'Ors each. Records that will stand for generations. Records that might never be broken. Portugal versus Colombia on June 17th is appointment viewing. The kind of match you clear your schedule for. Two proud football nations with rich histories. Two teams with everything to prove and nothing to lose. And here's a beautiful detail that makes this group even more special. Uzbekistan are managed by Fabio Cannavaro, the 2006 World Cup winner and Ballon d'Or winner. Like Ronaldo, he lifted the World Cup trophy in his career. He knows what it takes. Now he's trying to cause an upset against one of the greats, trying to write one more chapter in his own story. Portugal tops this group, Colombia goes through second, and Ronaldo gets one more chance, one final opportunity to chase the one trophy that has eluded him his entire career. Let's move quickly through the groups where the favorites are clear, where the outcomes seem obvious, where the stories are still compelling and worth telling. Group E, Germany, Ecuador, Ivory Coast, Curacao. Germany should win this comfortably. They're Germany. They know how to do this. But here's the narrative that makes this group special. Curacao is the smallest nation in World Cup history. When they play Germany in Toronto, it'll be David versus Goliath in its purest, most beautiful form. Ecuador are strong from CONMEBOL qualifying, battle-tested and dangerous, and they'll challenge Germany for top spot. But Germany goes through first, Ecuador second, and everyone moves on. Group F, Netherlands, Japan, Tunisia, and a European playoff winner. That could be Poland or Ukraine. Netherlands are favorites, no question. But Japan are always dangerous at World Cups. They always find a way. They have this habit of showing up when it matters most. Netherlands first, Japan second. But if Poland qualifies through that playoff, don't be surprised if they push hard for second place and make life difficult for everyone. Group G, Belgium, Iran, Egypt, New Zealand. Belgium's golden generation is running out of time, and they know it. Kevin De Bruyne is still pulling strings. This is their last chance, their final opportunity to deliver on all that promise, all that talent. Egypt have Mohamed Salah if he's fit, and that alone makes them dangerous, makes them capable of beating anyone. Iran are consistently competitive, never easy to break down. Belgium tops the group. Egypt edges Iran for second place. The Salah factor is real, it changes everything. Group H, Spain, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, Cape Verde. Spain are the #1 ranked team in the world right now. They're favorites to win the entire tournament at plus 400 odds, and for good reason. They're building something special, something that could dominate for years. Uruguay are two-time World Cup champions with a proud history that runs deep in their blood. This group isn't a group of death, but it's a group with serious quality throughout. Spain versus Uruguay will be tactical chess at its finest. Two teams that know how to control games, how to suffocate opponents, how to win ugly when they need to. Spain wins the group because they're building something special. Uruguay goes through second because they're Uruguay. And Cape Verde, making their first ever World Cup appearance as a tiny island nation, gets to experience what it feels like to compete on the biggest stage in football. And that's beautiful. So let's bring it all together. Let's lay it all out. 12 groups, 48 teams. Here's how it's gonna shake out when the dust settles. Group A, Mexico first, South Korea second. Group B, Switzerland first, Canada second. And Canada finally gets a World Cup point after all these years. Group C, Brazil first, Morocco second. But Scotland could sneak through as third, and if they do, watch out. Group D, USA first, Australia second. Pochettino delivers exactly what he promised. Group E, Germany first, Ecuador second. Group F, Netherlands first, Japan second. Group G, Belgium first, Egypt second. Salah's last dance on the World Cup stage. Group H, Spain first, Uruguay second. Group I, France first, Norway second. Mbappé versus Haaland delivers everything we hoped for and more. Group J, Argentina first, Austria second. With or without Messi, they find a way. Group K, Portugal first, Colombia second. Ronaldo's farewell tour continues into the knockout stages. Group L, England first, Croatia second. But the scars from 2018 remain. They never really fade. The 8 best third place finishers, Morocco, Senegal, Croatia, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Austria, Iran, and Scotland. That's where the chaos begins. That's where dreams either survive or die. But here's what this all really means, what it's setting up. The knockout bracket is positioning itself for something special, something we'll remember for decades. If these predictions hold, we're looking at potential matchups that could redefine this entire tournament. USA could face Morocco in the round of 32. Imagine that atmosphere. France could face Austria, then potentially meet Argentina in the quarterfinals. Mbappé versus Messi, master versus apprentice. England and Spain could meet in the semifinals, a tactical battle for the ages. Brazil and France could collide in a rematch of previous World Cup drama. The beauty of the group stage is that it's just the beginning, just the first chapter. Every prediction we've made could be blown apart by one moment of brilliance, one defensive error, one red card, one goalkeeper having the game of his life and refusing to be beaten. The draw is done, the groups are set, and now we wait. From Mexico's opening night at the Azteca to the final in New Jersey on July 19th, this World Cup is going to give us everything football can possibly offer. Host nations under crushing pressure, legends saying goodbye to the stage they defined, the next generation announcing themselves to the world, underdogs defying the odds and making believers out of everyone. 48 teams started this journey with dreams. Only one will lift the trophy. But in the group stage, hope is alive for everyone, and that's what makes it beautiful. That's what makes it football. Spain are the favorites. France are the defending finalists. England are desperate to deliver. Brazil are vulnerable for the first time in years. And somewhere in these 12 groups, a team nobody expects is going to do something absolutely unforgettable. That's the magic of the World Cup. That's why we love this game so much. So here's the question for you. Which group did we get wrong? Who's going to shock the world and tear up the script? And who's your pick to win it all when the final whistle blows in New Jersey? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Let's debate, let's argue, let's celebrate football the way it deserves. Because in 6 months, the talking stops and the real football begins. See you at the World Cup.